With every home run, exciting three-fingered catch, and buzzer-beating basket, it's no wonder why we are completely addicted to the excitement and drama of professional sports in America. It's also no wonder why injuries to our favorite athletes can be such a heart-wrenching experience, especially when those injuries could take them out for long periods of time or potentially end their careers. Although it can be extremely detrimental to our favorite team's championship hopes, athletes are more than aware of the long-term risks playing sports can have on their health, and oftentimes seek medical help to minimize the risks, help cope with the pain, and potentially help them get back onto the field faster. It's also no wonder why many athletes turn to performance-enhancing drugs, such as anabolic steroids, in order to help them increase their physical abilities, strength, reduce injury recovery time, or even prolong their careers. Growing up, I was fascinated with Barry Bonds, a professional baseball player who would regularly amaze fans with his ability to set records on home runs and crush balls out of the park. There was no doubt in anyone's minds that Barry Bonds was freakishly strong compared to how he was in his younger years, and reports surfaced questioning whether or not Barry Bonds had been using performance-enhancing drugs in order to achieve this build. In fact, Bonds was one of many players in professional baseball throughout the late 90s and early 2000s that were brought up upon charges of using these performance-enhancing drugs in Major League Baseball, and what would become the largest steroid investigation in the United States on any sports organization. Later on in my life, I became intrigued on why there's so much emphasis on banning these drugs and not letting players use them. Also, on why these leagues such as Major League Baseball would go through the countless effort of dragging these former superstars through endless court appearances, fines, and also defaming them and holding them out of potential Hall of Fames and taking their records out of the record books. Professional sports leagues in America are some of the largest and wealthiest organizations because of the massive followings they receive from people all over the world. In fact, the National Football League ranks first overall when it comes to the largest and wealthiest organizations in the United States, above the likes of the Roman Catholic Church, hospitals, and all of the biggest universities. Today I would like to talk to you about anabolic steroids and what the potential risks and rewards are associated with them, why athletes are using them, and how far sports organizations have gone to stop them from using them, and some of the punishments that have been handed down to those who have been charged with using steroids. Now you may be wondering what a steroid is and what exactly do they do. The most common steroid among athletes is an anabolic steroid, which is simply synthetic testosterone. Testosterone is simply the male hormone that helps develop muscle rebuild or development of muscle and helps make you bigger. Whether steroids are injected or taken orally, the rewards are the same. The seriousness of the risk can vary among age and gender. Used properly, steroids have been used to help many people with debilitating diseases who have suffered from traumatic accidents. On average, a male produces less than 10 milligrams of testosterone a day, and while females produce significantly less than that. A person who is using steroids in order to bulk up and gain muscle or recover from injuries, such as an athlete, are said to be known to take hundreds of milligrams a day. The use of testosterone can help eliminate excess body fat and speed up the regeneration process of muscle tissue. By increasing the testosterone beyond normal levels, they can have many health hazards. Some users may encounter behavioral side effects like anger issues and depression, and damage to the liver and heart. It also may cause impotence to men and have birth complications for women. But steroids have done amazing things in the medical field for people suffering from terrible accidents and diseases that eat away at muscle tissue. Anabolic steroids, like I said before, help rebuild that tissue and muscle that has been lost in certain accidents or illnesses. and also used to help patients recovering from severe illnesses to help regain body weight that might have been lost. It also reduces the swelling of joints and muscles and helps open up airways, and can use to treat arthritis when injected. They can also be used to fight off infections from certain accidents. People who have lost limbs due to accidents can help regain, or have lost muscle in their limbs can use steroids to help regain that muscle. Knowing what steroids are and how they can be used makes it easier to understand why athletes may choose to use them for their own personal gain. Well, you may be wondering why athletes are using steroids when they're already at the top of their game and they're already getting paid millions of dollars to be in that sport. Well, that answer comes from what athletes have to lose. When an athlete is at the highest level of his game, certain pressure is being put on that athlete in order to keep maintaining and keep performing at that level. A lengthy injury to that athlete could have drastic effects on their future, financially, and for their health. For many athletes, playing the sport is all they know. They've done that throughout their entire lives. Not doing that anymore could leave them feeling like they don't know what else they could do. Serious health risks have also been associated with athletes purchasing steroids from what they call a black market, since buying steroids is illegal in the United States. And they also self-administer these drugs without any medical supervision. Because of the serious restrictions on taking steroids in nearly every major league in America, many athletes find alternative ways of getting these steroids. Most commonly are animal steroids from Mexico, which are not very healthy for somebody to take. Athletes usually give themselves injections of steroids in order to keep the fact that they're using them a secret. Because of this, many athletes are using too high of a dosage or do not follow proper regimen for using these drugs. In 2010, former Major League player Ken Kamini died of a heart attack at age 41 and had admitted 8 years earlier of his frequent drug abuse and steroid abuse during his playing days. He's only one of many. As you can see, the decision of whether or not to use steroids can be a very difficult one on a professional athlete. The decision is based on the potential rewards over the known risks and can be seen as a choice that only that person can make for themselves in the end. But if this is the case, you may be thinking to yourself, then why wouldn't every athlete use them? After all, being competitive is what being an athlete is all about. This is where the professional leagues come into play. What sort of punishments, may you ask, should using steroids have? What I'm going to cover next are some of the reasons why major sports leagues are banning steroids and why it's such a big deal. Why major sports leagues are banning steroids is because they know the associated risks of using them, and also keeping the playing field even for all athletes who may not want to use them. Obviously, that would be unfairly forcing others to use them in order to compete at that level. While steroids do increase muscle mass, they do not increase skill or talent. While the attention has been focused on steroids, many corrective surgeries available today give athletes added advantages over competition, such as Tommy John surgery. Tommy John surgery is where a tendon from the elbow that has been torn is replaced by a tendon from elsewhere in the body. Most pitchers in the Major League Baseball get this surgery when they tear that tendon, and it helps them recover faster and also be able to have added durability in the elbow that was once injured. Modern medicine has also evolved drastically in the past years to offer athletes other types of surgery to correct deficiencies that maybe weren't caused by injury, such as LASIK eye surgery. A player with less than perfect vision can now receive LASIK eye surgery in order to correct his vision. In baseball, that could be a very big advantage for a player who now can see the ball better. Now, that may not be an advantage, but it can be seen as giving that player an added something that he didn't have before. Across all the professional sports in America, anti-performance enhancing drug policies have been put in place in order to deter athletes from taking these drugs such as steroids, such as random mandatory drug urinalysis. Most notably, the NFL's league-wide policy regarding the use of steroids gives them the permission to administer this test at any time. In Major League Baseball, all players are required to submit a sample at the beginning of spring training and are subject to additional tests at any time during the season. Violating these drug policies can come with severe legal action. For violating these drug policies, players can be fined and suspended for a predetermined period of time, depending on the amount found during a test. Such examples of this are the biogenesis scandal of 2013 that happened in Major League Baseball, when a clinic in Miami released the names of multiple athletes that apparently received steroids. In the late 90s, Major League Baseball was investigated by Congress for failing to control the steroid epidemic going on in the league after 2 college baseball athletes committed suicide and massive amounts of anabolic steroids were found in their system. The committee was formed to investigate the current drug prevention policy in baseball, and then also brought tons of Major League superstars onto the stand to testify whether or not they had also used them. These committees that were formed questioned these stars and also swore them under oath to answer these questions truthfully. The end result was over 89 players being convicted of using steroids during the late 90s and early 2000s, and consisted of a 20-month investigation. To this day, former players like Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens, among many others, have had their records stricken from the record books and have also been held out of contention for the Hall of Fame because of the accusations of using performance-enhancing drugs. Everyone has a set of rules that they have to abide by in their jobs, and athletes should be no different. The policies set in place in these organizations are there in order to maintain a fair and even playing field, and also to maintain a level of safe and easy play. In conclusion, the use of steroids and other performance-enhancing drugs in professional sports have been very problematic and a relevant topic over the last few years. And as we move into the future, it will continue to grow if it's not addressed in some way. While we cannot stop professional athletes from buying illegal steroids in order to make themselves better than their competition, there should be a better form of understanding within professional leagues to provide an outlet for these athletes to use when they feel like they should be when they want to take these steroids. These athletes are put under enormous amounts of pressure to entertain millions of fans on a daily basis, and they're also could be suffering from chronic pain from injuries suffered while playing these sports. After all, we swear we love our players, and when they give it their all to win at all costs. But in the end, who are we to tell them that they could be fined, banned, suspended, or possibly even face jail time just for seeking out all possible options when they are injured? It's just a game to all of us, but to them, it's their lives.